welcome to Record-ology. Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Okay, today we are going to take a look at the inner workings of an antique phonograph. This, of course, is my 1917 Vita-Nola. We've reviewed it a number of times. We've played a lot of records on it. So if you're interested in this, just search my channel for Vita-Nola, Vita-Nola. So yeah, this is made in Chicago. This was one of like thousands of companies, off-brand companies, I'm using that in air quotes, that were making phonographs to compete with Victrola, Edison, and others. So a lot of these companies were more manufacturing the furniture aspect and then using common parts for the actual phonograph parts. And I think that's probably what was happening here. But let's see what makes it tick. You've seen, the cranks on the side. So what's it actually controlling? And we've talked about this before, but I want to kind of go deep dive a little bit. I'm going to let it run off some steam there. I would like for the spring to be unwound when we do this. I probably should have done this beforehand. So essentially what's happening is there's a metal coil that lives underneath the phonograph. Now, right here is the horn, and we've looked at all this up close, but this is a wood horn that kind of comes up and underneath and connects to the armature on top, the tone arm and the reproducer. So what's happening here is in between this top of the horn and the bottom of the plinth is the mechanism that we're going to look at. There's actually more area back there than you might think. So let me reposition here a little bit, give us a little bit better shot. I should have done this before we started, so my apologies there. While we're here, I can show you a couple of cool things. So this is nickel plated. This is the reproducer. This particular model can actually rotate like this and play vertical cut records as well, but you need to get a different stylus. You can't use that same steel needle or stylus. You need to get a sapphire ball needle essentially for that. Back here we've got little metal cups to put the used needles in. You're supposed to change them out after every play. You can usually get actually 2, 3, sometimes 4 sides out of a single one. You get to the point where you can feel when it's sharp and when it's become blunted. So that's the essence of the phonograph. Down here you've got the brake. My brake uses a leather pad. I mean, this predates synthetic rubber, so it used a leather pad to brake it. So mine is kind of metal on metal right now, which is why this thing doesn't hold too firmly, and sometimes it'll spring to life literally in the middle of the night. And you just hear like this sound in the middle of the night, which is crazy. By the way, if you hear beeping and cheeping, Yoshi the bird, my assistant director here, is off camera to the left, and he is always comes alive when we're filming. So part of the reason why I like filming in the office is I don't have to worry about him. And then down here is a speed control. You can tweak the speed. A lot of 78s and older records were, they used various speeds. They weren't all 78. Some were at 80 RPM, 76 RPM. So if you need to tweak it, you can do that. It uses a flywheel mechanism. It's brilliant. So that's essentially it. The part that we're going to remove is this square inset piece right here. And once this runs off a little bit more energy, I'll take the crank out of the side. That's why I wanted to start there. And I'll lift it up and see it's a big mass of gears and, amazing, very early engineering of phonographs, and I think it's fascinating. This thing still sounds great. Properly maintained, I feel like these will last forever. Wow, this is going forever. I should have just played a record. That should be enough. I just didn't want it completely sprung. So as you can see, when I put that into the stop position, it still wants to move a little bit because that leather is worn out. Okay, so to take the crank off, we're just going to crank it backwards. It unscrews just like that. Just like that. Look how long that is. I mean, these kind of parts you guys are never going to wear. Never. There's no plastic anywhere on this thing. Nowhere. Next thing is we need to put the pickup in a stowed position so it rotates up, and then we're going to rotate it to the right. Again, this isn't something I like to do a lot. I'm going to move you over just a little bit here. But it is super cool, so I want you guys to see it. So now with the crank out of the way, with the tone arm assembly out of the way, we're going to simply lift up on the platter and then inch this guy forward a little bit. And as you can see, it lifts right up and out. There's the horn, and you can see here is the where the edge of that platter's been scraping when I lift it up. So here again is the top. Let's go ahead and flip it. And underneath you are going to see what makes it tick, literally. So there, my friends, is a phonograph wind-up motor. And last time I had this thing open, which was probably 2 years ago, we did find a maker's mark on it. The springs are going to be in those canisters there. Lots of old grease on this thing. Look at the gears. They don't make stuff like this anymore, literally. Bottom of that platter is just hollow metal. This is the bottom of that speed adjustment, which you can see right there. So when you turn that, I'm turning it right now, and it basically changes the position of these flywheels. So they kind of spread out or they contract depending on what position. It's not going to do it now with it not spinning. But that's essentially it. Moving it around here, you've got, this is where the crank connects. And it's an amazing thing. It works pretty dang good. The only issue, like I said, is that brake leather is kind of worn out. So, all right, guys, there you go. There's a peek at the inner workings. You can see how that spins there when it's rotating. I'm just holding the, whoa, I almost lost it there. You can see a very faint maker's mark right there. It's right there. Let's see if we can read it a little better. Yeah, see that? That is awesome. Anyway, guys, there you go. This is the Vita-Nola motor that powers my Vita-Nola phonograph from 1917. A true working antique piece of functional art and wonderful mechanical engineering. So anyway, I hope you guys like this. If you did, give me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.